so it is Friday. You got that? You good? Okay. So it's Friday, and we are actually in Divine Magic and Novelties, which is the shop that we both started in.
Yeah.
Not necessarily at the same time. I actually started in this shop before Chris was born.
I started actually in a shop in Long
Before
Island,
I
New
was
York.
born?
Yeah, before he was born at a shop in Long Island, New York. That's how that works when you travel.
Yeah.
But it was called Ronjo's. But then, you know,
that's
my
clever. Yeah.
yeah, my real official start in magic, you know, I fell out of love with it, and probably around my teen years, like, you know, probably when I was 13, came back into it when I was 15. Then I started. That's when I really nailed it hard in this place. And
How did you find this place?
oh gosh, that's a great question. You know what? Wow, that is. You know what? Charlie Ross, a guy that I met at VCU who did magic. No, how did I find this place? That's a really.
It's like not a place you just normally find.
Yeah, you can't just. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know what's funny is that detail of it escapes me. I think maybe somebody told me about it and I had searched it and showed up here.
I actually found this place. This tells you how old I am. I actually found this place in the Yellow Pages.
I don't know,
No
man.
joke.
I didn't search Magic Shop and find it because I don't think that's how you find this place either.
I actually did because when I started, I was 15 when I started, but and I saw Lance Burton on TV. So I'm gonna ask you in a bit how you started, but I saw
Yeah.
Lance Burton on TV, and then I went to Roanoke, and there was like a small like kiosk in the mall. I went there for like a festival or something. Yeah, that's right. I was raving at 15. I'm just kidding. I wasn't. I was a family.
I believed you. You used to like
You
manage
really
a
see me as a raver?
You
I'm
managed
not
a
raver.
club, dude. That's like that's one step away.
That's very true.
Everyone who goes to raves has managed a club at one point.
That's true, but I didn't really manage a club. I managed a strip club. A little different.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
They raved.
Yeah.
So when I got back to Richmond, I was like, I want to know where the magic shop. I wonder if there's any magic shops around here. Actually, One Eye Jack's is where.
Yes.
Is that how you
yes,
found out
that's
about
how
this?
I went to
That's
One Eye
exactly how I
Jack's
found
and they
out about
recommended.
this.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly what it was.
Woody, okay, so to give you the backstory on this, and you'll see it too. I think we're gonna have fun when we talk about it. But there was when they first opened the shop, and you didn't get the chance to meet him. I'm
No,
so
but I
sorry for
heard
that
so much
because,
about him.
There was a magician. So Hun Wu, the guy that owns the shop, has owned it for 30 years now, and he started it with. He's not a magician. He didn't start out as a magician. There's a guy named Woody Landers who started out as who was a magician that Hun knew, and they started the shop together. So Woody ran the magic side, but Woody started at One Eye Jack's.
Yeah,
That's how it happened, and then he moved over here when they opened the magic shop because One Eye Jack's had like 2 or 3 things, and it wasn't
yeah.
that much. You know
So
what I
One
mean?
Eye Jack's essentially it's still a magic shop, but let me rephrase: Magic the Gathering, like
Yeah,
card
it's more
games.
card games.
It's
that's
trading
board
card games, puzzles. I
Yeah.
think they realized the magic side of things wasn't really doing well. Even like this location, it's still not the best sellers. It's just this is the cult following for magicians type of side comes in here. The people who are in the magic club come out over here. This
Yeah.
isn't the stuff that keeps the shop going. It's just the stuff that Wu likes to have in the shop and to honor Woody and all that. But
Yeah, Woody, man, I wish you had the chance to meet Woody. Woody Landers, man, he was part of. Any of the magicians know this. He was part of the Flicking Fingers Club, which was like a
4F.
The 4F, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, I'm talking about.
like flicking, frolicking fingers.
Yeah,
something.
very exclusive club. He was a part of it, and you would come into the shop and like Woody would show you. He'd be like, "Let me show you this one thing," and you're like, "All right, cool." And then like before you leave, he's showing you 100 things you don't remember anything he's shown you when you walk out. Like you walk out so excited, and you're like,
It's like an assault
"Wait
of
a
magic.
second!" It's like hypnosis. Like you'll remember right when you walk through the door everything that happened, except it was opposite in Woody's case. So right when you walked out the door, you forget everything. But yeah, so I learned about you in this shop. Just through the other magicians that came in here.
Wait, I actually didn't know that. I thought you knew about me from meeting me.
No, so I had heard I saw your poster that you had up, and then Joe and Amy Duck were the first ones to be like, "Oh, you should check out this kid," right?
I love them.
Yeah, Joe and Amy Duck they've been in the business for so long. Just genuinely nice people.
They're actually like, and I don't know if this is weird to say, I feel like Joe and Amy Duck are like one of the first actual fans that I had. Like
Were they really?
They loved my shows and my tricks, and like they always hyped me up and like would tell people. And I don't know, like even now they're always commenting on my stuff and telling me, "Oh, I love this," and super supportive.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about this shop is, if you're in here at 7 o'clock when they close on a Saturday, the shop's full of magicians. Hun would sometimes we'll take out the magicians that are left in here out to dinner. And I went out to dinner one time. You weren't there, but Joe and Amy were there, and Joe, they were both saying like,
Oh my
just how
gosh.
impressed they are with you and how far
Wow.
you've come along.
Man,
So,
that means
dude,
a
tell
lot.
me about,
Dang.
give me the origin story of Chris Michael and how you got into magic.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways of how I got into magic, then I fell out of it, how I got back into magic, and then how I got into magic professionally are all
Yeah.
different stories. But
Take us through.
they stream together. So I got into magic originally from my grandfather, who used to do little silly things like coin behind the ear and like the grandpa tricks. He's gonna be upset that I said that because
Okay.
he thinks his tricks were good. I think they were. I think they were.
Yeah.
And then my uncle Richard, my grandpa's name was also Richard, but Richard Jr., my uncle, levitated a dollar bill in front of me one time.
You normally don't get uncles to do that. Like they do a quarter thing,
No, man, this
or they do like
blew
this like simple.
my
Yeah, that's pretty
My-
good for uncle. Good job, uncle.
yeah.
Good job, unc.
Man, he was great. And he floated this, and then I remember he kept the little manila envelope that the device or whatever he used was in there. I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
On top of the china cabinet in the kitchen, like that was like you could put stuff on top of the fridge, and I was like, do not touch it. If it's on top of the china cabinet, that was like the deed to the house. It's probably
Nice.
still there, so go ahead, take my grandma's deed. Anyway, So yeah, like I was like, oh man, I'm really not supposed to know. And
Yeah.
then I begged him for so long to show me. He showed me other tricks along the way, like the salt shaker through the table, and like literally all this was leading up to finding out the dollar bill trick, which I don't even think he was the one who taught me. I ended up having to learn on my own. So originally getting into magic, that's what it was. I was reinforced by this magician named Jester Jim. At the time, was a magician and juggler and a beatboxer, which is where I get my beatboxing from.
Oh, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
biggest influence in entertainment to date right now was Jester Jim, because I went to see his library shows. We would go and I would go to the library, and my grandma would take us, and there was a little theater, and he would put on a show, kind of like what I do now for libraries.
Yeah.
Sort of why I do libraries is because I'm trying to give that same experience to families. But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, his show is amazing and funny and energetic, and he did this mind-blowing. He did the silk to egg trick, where he put his silk in his hand, he opened it up, and it was an egg, and you're like, what? He's like, nah, just kidding. There's a hole in the back. He's like, nah, just kidding. And he peels the hole off and cracks the egg, and it's a real egg.
I remember seeing that for the first time.
Oh.
It literally blew my mind.
It was-
This is the most amazing thing.
And then he
ever.
did Wonder Bubble. He blew bubbles and then grabbed the bubble out of the air and bounced it on the floor. And actually, that moment I remade in my show. I talk about how I got into magic, and I talk about Jester Jim in my show. And
Because of that.
I grab the bubble, put it in a table, and the table floats away. That's how my shows end. Spoilers. That's how I got into magic originally. I was in love with it. Everything I can get my hands on, from dollar store tricks to card tricks to videos online when YouTube finally became a thing. And
Yeah.
that was just my whole life.
Yeah.
I moved to Virginia, and I think I kind of kept up with it, but I got really into wanting to be in the military, so I was really into fitness and
really?
stuff. Yeah, when I was a freshman. And when I
What
was
branch? Any particular branch?
I want to be U.S. Airborne Ranger,
Oh.
Army Rangers, so
Yeah.
in the Army. Anyway,
Then you should listen to David Goggins. That's
yeah.
what he wanted to be.
I know, man.
82nd Airborne.
I love that stuff. So, hold on, I'm gonna spread that back out. So that's how I was originally into magic. I was still into it even when we moved to Virginia from New York. I was probably about 10 or 11 at that point, 5th grade. Didn't really pick it back up until sophomore year of high school. Like I picked it up heavily. I picked it up gently because my friend Jonathan, who's also from Long Island, who moved to Virginia, Jonathan Abel, he's gonna watch this. He's out there, one of my best friends of all time. Showed me card tricks and would teach me card tricks. And actually, what's funny is now I'm the magician, and he's the one who wanted to make a career out of being in the military. We
crazy.
completely swapped. I got him
Yeah.
into ROTC, which I was doing, all that stuff. He got me into card tricks and magic. Just an interesting switch how that happened. But
Yeah.
so the gentle magic, the me just doing card tricks and being casually into it, was from 5th grade until about 7th grade. 7th grade and 8th grade, no magic.
Yeah.
And then 9th grade, no magic. Sophomore year of high school, heavily back into it. That's the year I came to this shop. That's the year I started performing in high school, developing a name for myself. And I found the shop by the same way you said, One-Eyed Jacks. They recommend me I come in here. The first day I'm in here, I meet a bald guy with a leather jacket and a motorcycle named Watt Hire. And Watt, he's like this old dude with this motorcycle gang and this
Yeah.
heavy Southern accent, and he hates everything. except for magic,
he's interesting character to say the least.
he does not hate everything, but
No, he doesn't.
He's just he grovels and
He's
he
like
knows
one
it.
of those cynical people or he's like one of those people that's like outwardly like he comes across cynical, but he's really not cynical
He's not.
at all.
I tell him
He's
that
like
all the time.
Nicest guy in the world. Like
He when you first meet him, you're gonna think exactly what I said. That's why I'm telling you what's in my mind. You're gonna be like, this guy hates everything.
Yeah.
But then you get to know him,
But
and
he
you're like,
doesn't.
oh my gosh, he's inviting and warm, and we're not just kissing up to him, but
it's very you know what it is? It's very Gazzo like.
yes.
Gazzo's like brings a kid up and immediately tells the kid like I hate kids, and but he like is hugging the kid and like
Yeah.
it's
Anyway,
awesome.
so I meet
Watt's
Watt,
awesome.
and my point is, he wasn't the type of guy that I thought I would be talking to. Like he was just
Not
the type
your
of guy.
typical magician.
Yeah, to himself,
Yeah.
but like kind of BA, like I don't know, like tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ends up telling me he's the president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Yeah, the local one.
Yeah, he starts doing the the Ring 180 president. He like does a wish paper trick and turns
me.
a piece of wish paper into a dollar bill.
Oh,
and
it's so good.
He did paper magic. That was his thing. And
Yeah.
his flyers were up around the shop,
Yeah.
and he invited me to a house party for magicians that he has every year, where magicians come in to celebrate. I think maybe his housewarming anniversary. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's
But-
like a potluck every year for
Yeah.
magicians.
Man, I showed up. I performed some magic. My style was so unique and innovative, I think, at the time, because they've never seen non-knuckle busting magic that was entertaining.
Yeah.
And the rest is literally history. Like then it just built into being a full-time career.
Okay, but that's quite the jump. So, do you remember? It's like I was doing amateur stuff, and all of a sudden I'm a full-time magician.
Do you want to get into the process of going full-time?
No, not the whole, because that's what
Yeah.
the vlog series is about. But do you remember the first paid gig you did?
Yeah, it actually did
What
come
was
out
it?
of Watt's
Really?
house show. Yeah, a guy named
Out of
Glenn.
his actual like get together that he had?
Yeah, there were so many magicians
wow.
there, and one gentleman, Glenn Lucy, was at the party. I guess a friend of Watts, and he was doing event entertainment at a retirement community. And he gives me a call, and I think he sent me a text message too, and was just like, "Hey, we've never seen a style of magic like yours." She's like, "We want you to come in, and well, this is what the senior folks need is something energetic and fast paced."
Yeah.
So I came in and did that gig, and then because I did one paid gig, then the next paid gig was from my business and management teacher in high school, Mr. Bolander. He was like, I would do tricks in his class all the time because he was my morning class, so I had time before school actually started. I'd blow
Nice.
people away. He'd be involved. He loved the tricks. And one day he's like, "Hey, my son's birthday party's coming up at Skateland. You do paid shows?" I go, "I've done one before," which I thought that was big moves. I was like, "Oh yeah."
Do you remember how much you charged for that first one?
I think I got paid. $50.
$50.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
You're probably like, whoa.
I told my mom, I was like, "Mom, I made $50 an hour today,"
Yeah.
and then I got paid like $70 for Mr.
For the second
Bolander.
one. Hey,
Yeah.
at least you upped it.
Yeah, and I got paid $20 to do my friend Austin Kyle's
Okay,
little
well,
brother's
yes,
birthday
yeah.
party, and man, did they get more value than that? 'Cause
Yeah,
that was good,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
My show's the same as it was. No, it's not.
Shit.
I think I did 2 tricks and they both failed probably.
You
so.
do the flowers out of the sleeve, right? Still to this day.
To this day,
I'm just
I
kidding.
do that one, and I among others,
And the coils out of the mouth, right?
I actually do that. I actually do.
Anyway, so you might need to revamp your part of your show. No, so when did you know, like, because, explain a little bit, because you were a full-time student
Mm-hmm.
at VCU, and,
We're jumping ahead.
yeah, so, and, an RA,
Uh-huh.
full-time gig,
Yeah.
basically a full-time job, and you had gotten to the point where you were doing 30 shows a month on average. Oh, when did it get to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, like this is actually a viable business? Like this actually
Yeah.
become a. But do you remember? Remember when that happened?
So let me back up a little bit because so it was Glenn Lucy's party, Mr. Berlander's party, random birthday parties throughout. I don't even know how I was picking those up. And then I performed for the show called Magic and Jazz at VCU. Actually, Charlie Ross was one of the guys I met the first day here at the shop along with Watt. And Charlie had invited me to just hang out with him at his house. You know, he was a college student, a few years older than me. And anyway, we ended up connecting really well, hanging out a lot. He invited me to do the show, which was his senior project. Was like he wanted to do a show at VCU before he graduated. So he brings in a jazz band to play live music, and he sets up a play. And throughout the play are these moments of magic. And I was a character. I was a host of a talent show that he was doing there. And the talent show host did some magic to open up the show, which is like, I think it was supposed to be a conflict for Charlie because he was also doing magic.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that was part of the play. So we do this bit where, you know, I do like maybe like the vanishing bandana and like a card to mouth routine that was David Williamson's.
Yeah.
And when I walk backstage, there's this magician named Zach Alexander. That's what he goes by now. And I had heard about this guy, but I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
Literally just standing there with a goatee, and I'm like, he's like, oh, great show, great performance. You're a great performer. And I was like, thanks, who are you? Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, I'm Zach. I was like, Zach? I've been trying to meet with you for like 3 years, man. Where you been? Like, he's like, I moved out in Blacksburg. I'm not in Richmond anymore. He started the VC Magic Club. So anyway,
wow.
yeah, he used to run the Magic Club. No, he wanted me to continue it, but I never did.
Okay.
So anyway, Zach meets me there backstage, and he's like, man, how long have you been performing? Because you're killer. I was like, that was really my first one. And he's like, no way. So the next day he comes to my apartment, gets me on this website called Thumbtack, which is where, you know, you can
Which had just started.
Had just started at the time.
Yep.
I made an account, and from there I was booking shows, and my goal was 4 shows a month back then, which was to me a lot.
One show a week.
One show a week.
Yeah.
And that was tough. It was tough.
I'm sure.
But after I started doing 4 shows a month consistently, I was like, oh, I'm making whatever it was at the time,
Yeah.
$600 to $1,000 a month. I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember having any magic influences, like big name guys? Anybody in particular?
Yeah, David Williamson,
Yeah,
Justin Willman, which is weird because Justin Willman's not a name that people drop a lot for that stuff.
Yeah.
But because his style was so unique and different and modern, I just really cling to that. Justin Flom was another one.
Mm-hmm.
These are 3, and it's funny because you can tell how young I am because these are all young guys.
David Williamson's not young.
Yeah, but David Williamson was for me probably the biggest one. And then, you know, I've really, really loved watching. How come the name is escaping me now? You know, well, I grew up watching David Blaine. Come on, you know,
Yeah.
David Blaine. But there were others along the way. But those are the 3 that I remember really heavily getting into.
Yeah. Excuse me. Do you what do you have advice for people just getting into magic? You know, when they're wanting to make a successful business out of it. I mean, what do you tell them?
First steps is just do it. Like there's so many blockades and reasons for you to tell yourself not to do something. Oh, this trick's not ready, or oh, I don't have enough material, or oh, I don't know who to talk to, or oh, I don't know how long my show is, or oh, you'll find that out. Like get out there with what you know. Like literally, if you just take a deck of cards, like literally, you know, you're nervous. You're probably gonna bring your whole case of magic, right?
Yeah.
Plus your drawer from your house.
Yeah.
Bring it and do it. And if it works, do it the next time.
Yeah.
You know, if something doesn't work, take it out, try something else, and just play. Like, you're going to find out, oh, I only did 20 minutes that time. Okay, now I need to find another 20 minutes, you know? You'll work with it. Like, just get out there and do something. And do it in places that are low stakes. You don't have to do paid gigs right out the gate.
Yeah.
Try some retirement communities. Try some fundraiser events. Do some charity work. And just get out there. Like, the more that you're doing, the faster you'll grow. That's why people were amazed I got so big so fast, was because I literally started from doing like no gigs to like 4 years later, I was a full-time performer because I just performed as much as possible. Yeah.
That's a good advice. I will give you guys some inside knowledge too. Chris has built a career off a show that is about 45 minutes to an hour. And he does maybe 3. I think he do 3 actual magic shows.
Yeah. Okay. 3 to 5. You could say. You could argue.
Depending on the show.
Yeah. 3 to 5.
Sometimes, depending on the audience, you'll change the show. But it's completely against the norm where you hear that you need to be doing magic trick after magic trick after magic trick after trick after trick after trick.
I don't even do magic in the first 20 minutes of my show. I think the first 20 minutes of my show is just a comedy routine.
More than that.
Yeah. Although I have cut it and changed it now. There's a little bit more magic in there, but 3 to 5 tricks is standard. You know, sometimes they go up to 7, but and that feels like a very heavy magic show for me. Like there's a lot of magic involved in that.
Yeah.
And I've done walk around gigs for 4 years now, essentially on 3 tricks, and you know. I mean, my name takes off faster than any other name around here.
Yeah.
I think it's just about how you present it, the fun you have.
Yeah.
And not to say I can't do good magic or a lot of magic. I know thousands and thousands of tricks. I just, you know,
I literally, I think I do the same. Like whenever I meet someone for the first time, I probably do the same 5 tricks in a row that I've done for 10 years now. So you get the tricks that you get to a point where you got the tricks that
And
works for you.
yeah, and I'm teetering on this thought because I think one way it's important and another you shouldn't. But think about what you're charging when you start.
That's yeah.
It's hard for you to justify moving up, but look at what other people are doing and think about how valuable your skills are. I mean, there's value in one, like even if you just know an ambitious card or a SpongeBob routine, most people have never seen a good SpongeBob routine in their life. Most people have never seen a good card trick in their life. I mean, that's worth at least $200, right there, just knowing those 2 tricks. So think
Yeah.
about that, getting out the gate. Like, I hope that everyone here is charging at least, if you're in Magic.
250.
Yeah, at least to start out. Like,
Yeah.
don't be one of those $75 guys, because not only are you lowering what Magic is worth as a principle, because like literally just based on principle what you're doing and blowing people away and making them have awesome memories. Like go to an amazing restaurant and have awesome memories and like have a night that's wild. You've seen something you've never seen before. It's gonna cost you at least $100 to $200.
Yep.
So if you're charging $50 for that same thing,
When is the point where you move up in price?
when you're booking too much, like when you have to start saying no to gigs, raise your rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you find it's easy, like right now, it's probably about time for me to raise my rates because my calendar's filling up and I'm getting asked to do things and I can't take them and I'm turning them away. That's a sign you should raise your rates.
Yeah. And last thing, I know you're going to agree with me. The show, we've talked a lot about putting together the show and making sure you've got a good show. But that is not the most important part about building a successful business.
It's important.
It's important, but if you don't know how to sell, if you don't know how to market yourself, if you don't know how to take care of clients, if you don't know how to network your shows, that's literally why we're together. I've been doing magic for 23 years. A couple years ago, tried to go professional. I literally had no idea how to do it. And so part of the reason for this whole docu-series is a little self-serving, to be quite honest, because it was me literally coming to Chris and saying, dude, how are you booking shows? Like, what are you reaching out to them? What CRM system are you using? Like, what are you saying to people when you call
And
leave
it's the
messages?
little things.
Like,
It is
it's
the little things.
So make sure you watch, when you watch the docu-series, they come out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon. Look for those little things because you see everything. You see behind the scenes. You see him doing emails, on phone calls. You see him interacting with clients. Look for the little things in there of things that Chris says, the way he interacts with people. There's a lot of nuggets in there that are just kind of hidden away for you that are just super valuable.
And you've even said just to go off that, business is the biggest word in show business, right?
Yeah. It's like show business.
If you have one good trick, that's it, just one good trick, you can make 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
Just learn how to market that one good trick.
Yeah.
And with you spent one weekend with me, and at the end of the weekend, I remember you looking at me and being like, man, I was doing it all wrong, or something like that. Like,
yeah, because I literally, to get this is a perfect example. Last year, I sold my original media company because I wanted to go to do magic full time. And I sent out 280, I think it was 285, 280, right around there, 280 emails to associations to try to get gigs, right? One weekend I literally heard back. I sent out like 280. I heard back from 3 of those. They all said no. I got one of them on the phone, but they still all 3 said no. And I'm going to Chris like, I don't know what's going on, and maybe I'm doing it wrong. I have no idea. One weekend with Chris, and seeing how he handles the associations. Actually 2 that he's booked that I reached out to originally just because I did it wrong. And so it's been super valuable to to see hands-on, how you get it done.
It's stupid to say this out loud because it doesn't make sense, but a lot of the success in business doesn't come from out here. It comes from up here. The way you feel and approach things and what you know up here, like it just somehow translates in a physical way.
Yeah.
So like experience is important, but don't let your lack of experience prevent you from making big things happen. You're no matter what, at the end of the day, and people say this all the time, you're providing a service to them. Once you find out it's not about the magic, it's about how you're adding value to them. Yeah. That's important. And when we say value, it's not like, oh, I'm going to blow your guests away and make you look amazing. It's like, hey, look at these numbers. Look at the statistics here. What does your company retention rate look like when you do events like this for your clients? Or, hey, for your fundraiser, your kids' day at your fundraiser, what amount of people who donate are going to give. Okay, sorry. So like, how much more money do people give when you bring out programs like this at your fundraiser, as opposed to when you don't have something engaging?
Yeah.
What is the difference not only between having a magician and not having a magician, having a magician and having me? What do those numbers look like? Come to them with real facts, numbers, statistics, ideas. Even if you don't have the experience or the statistics to rely on yet, just explain to them why you think you're different and how you're adding more value than someone else. That's super important.
Yeah. Last thing I want to leave you guys with, I think there's two big takeaways here. Number one, if you're just getting into magic and there's no magic shop around, if you're watching this and there's literally nothing anywhere near you, there's a good online community. There's a couple groups on Facebook that are really good. Magicians Only is one of them, and just reach out. Reach out online. I guarantee you, there's probably other people in and around your area within at least an hour or two that are also doing magic to link up with. Secondly, too. Plus, there's conventions all over the United States, so look into the conventions too.
And don't be afraid to Google search. I've done this. Sometimes I still do this. Don't be afraid to Google search magicians near me and call those guys.
Call them.
Like, like I think about this. Like, this sounds a little conceited, but like I feel like as far as magicians go, like I'm on the upper end of like being relatively like big, and so like if somebody were to call me, I don't feel at all in any way like, oh, I'm not going to take this call, or oh, I don't have to. Sometimes I genuinely don't have time for that person, but I'll be nice and gentle and let them know that and schedule a call back later. I know how important it was for me when I got started to network with magicians, and most magicians recognize that. Now I have called magicians who have not been that nice about it, but those are also the magicians who aren't going to give you material you need to know, because if they're not treating you nice, then obviously they feel insecure about something they need to protect. So they're probably not a good person to learn from anyway. Yeah,
it was, more so than not, even the very high up magicians are super open to talking to you.
Yeah.
A second thing is, business wise, go to magicians that are busy and working, and then ask them for advice. Don't ask the guy that's just doing it on the weekends and making a couple bucks here and there. Wouldn't you agree with that? Like, if you're really wanting to learn how to be successful in the business. Also, there's a great course that you did that comes out once a year. And tell them about what the course is again.
I feel bad about even telling you guys about this, because I don't know if Barry's going to be hosting it for that much longer. But Showbiz Blueprint changed my life. It took me from charging maybe $500-$600 a gig to charging somewhere in the thousands for gigs, and not only charging more, but getting requested far more than I ever thought possible. That class changed my life. Now, I'm not going to be going into the things that I've learned in that class specifically, but some of the things that I've learned along the way other than that have developed more maybe after I've taken the class, or some of the things have clicked for me. I won't share some of the proprietary things, but I'll help give you some things that I noticed that I see all magicians doing that work for them. So there are some actual buttons you can press and things you can do that will skyrocket your business. There is sort of a right way to handle things. So.
So reach out, get the mentorship on both ends, both on the magic and the business side of things. Anything else?
No, man. I'm glad we're putting this stuff out here. I hope it's not. I hope it makes sense. The way that I speak, you're a lot more gathered than I am. I like to make a web and pick pieces and pull it to the middle, but I'm sure there's a lot more that I can speak about all these topics, and I can dive into my story more. I'm sure we will throughout the docuseries, but it's super awesome for you guys to be listening to this. Let us know what you think of these, some topics you want to hear us talk about down in the comments, so we can take care of you guys, and this can be a community thing and not just me and Shane looking at a camera and talking.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for watching this. We sincerely appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.